Again, in the Battle Creek City Commission meeting for August 5th, 2025, 7 o'clock. We welcome you to our City Commission meeting. We're going to have a moment of silence for our invocation, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to ask Commissioner Simmons to lead us in the pledge. If you could stand for a moment of silence, we'd appreciate it. Commissioner Simmons.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on our agenda is our roll call, and I just want to share with you that Commissioner Lacoste is traveling and will not be able to make the meeting today. Madam Clerk, if you could take the roll.
Commissioner Kotarski-Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Lance.
Here.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Mayor Benke.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
And Vice Mayor Sophia.
Here.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is petitions, communications, and reports.
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding any remaining agenda items. This is a reminder to all residents that, as stated in the Commission's rules, members of the public may not pass the Commission Chambers bar unless invited to do so by the presiding member or, after requesting explicitly, being granted permission to do so. Violators will be ruled out of order and may be required to leave the meeting or be subject to arrest. We respectfully ask that you adhere to these rules of procedure. If you'd like to make public comment regarding any remaining agenda item, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You will have 4 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which agenda item you are speaking to. Is there any public comments at this time? Any public comments? Ray?
Good evening. I'm here for the proposed ordinance change for rezoning of 26 Harvard Street. I bought the property recently. I own a building that's just around the block at 55 Fremont Street, looking to convert it to a 4-unit apartment complex for affordable housing. I believe it was passed through the Planning Commission, so asking that it be rezoned and approved by the City Commission.
Thank you very much for your investment, Ray. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. Are there any other public comments at this time? Chuck Asher, please.
Chuck Asher, 961 Glencroft Lane in Battle Creek. I'm here to speak in support of resolutions 198 and 199. However, my big concern here is that I didn't see any intent to do any health and safety upgrades to Station 5. 2/3 of line of duty cancer or firefighter deaths anymore are caused by occupational cancer. You still have 3 people a day that are going to be stationed at that station. I think we need to move forward with renovations, but if you can't find a way to make those health and safety improvements in this go-around, you need to address it immediately because you still have people there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Reese?
Good evening, Reese Atkins, 84 South 23rd Street. I'm also speaking on 198 and 199 and concerning with Station 5. I was at the last workshop they had where they explained a lot of that, and a little concerned that they were talking about not doing anything with Station 5. I really hope that we're not deciding to do a kick the bucket down the road and postpone Station 5 and then have to come back next year or even the year after and say, well, we need more money because we've already stated that Station 5 is deteriorating and now it's really deteriorating and turn into a Station 4 where we have to close it and get emergency money to do what we should be doing right now, and that's rebuilding it and fixing it up to where it's up to code like all the other ones are going to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Reese. Are there any other public comments at this time? John?
John Kennefic, 234 South Avenue, Resolutions 198 through 200. It's a $28 million loan. If you love your children and you love your grandchildren, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be mortgaged in their lives for 25 years from now when this bond goes through. It's $28 million, and it's just short of $20 million in interest when it's finally paid off. Now, you have a thing here as regards to the station. For more than 20 years, you've talked about closing fire stations. You haven't done anything, but also in more than 20 years, since some of the stations are greater than 100 years old, you haven't put any money aside in a capital improvement plan. If you had done this 20 years ago, there'd be no issue as far as the bond at all, because there would be no loan. You'd have the money in the bank ready to go, no loan whatsoever. Now, Resolution 200 is HVAC. It's part of the $2.5 million of the $28 million that are going to be approved tonight. The Kellogg Arena has never stood on its own 2 feet after the last 40 years. You've dumped $2.1 million in repairs, and then you dumped $500,000 5 years later into the roof. It's a money pit. Now, one of the things that's said is that businesses downtown, they say they get improvement, they get money coming off the arena. That means we're indirectly subsidizing the businesses down there because the taxpayer is keeping an operation that's not supposed to be operational. You want to solve the Kellogg Arena? Sell it. And one final comment. In 2005, Kevin Shibley promised to pay back the $2.1 million that the city of Battle Creek just gave him out of the public treasury. Never paid back a dime. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes. Mr. Moore.
David Moore. Well, kind of mutual on this last comment. I support the Kellogg Arena. Things that brings to Battle Creek. And it's a lot of expenses really to keep it going. I'm not very educated in the business part of it. But in a way, I support the Kellogg Arena. It's done a lot of great things. I think our city managers, Ted Darren and Rebecca Fleury, has done a good job. And but it's a costly program. I think there are things, well, I have to admit, I think are more important in this. But I'm glad to hear that comment that we had. Thank you.
David, thank you for your comments. Any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll go on with the meeting. Next item on our agenda is introduction of ordinance 07-2025. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This proposed ordinance seeks to rezone the property located at 26 Harvard Street on the east side of Harvard Street between Calhoun Street to the north and Frelinghuysen Street to the south from its current zoning classification of R2 two-family residential district to T3 neighborhood commercial district.
I move for the introduction of ordinance 07-2025.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to introduce ordinance 07-2025. Are there any questions of the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on the introduction of ordinance 07-2025? The introduction of ordinance 07-2025 has been approved. Once again, Ray, thank you very much for your investment in Battle Creek. Next item on our agenda is commission comment regarding meeting business.
I move for the approval of the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Is there any questions that any commissioner may have? Seeing none, would you please vote on the consent agenda? The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 198. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This resolution, if approved, authorizes the issuance of 2025 capital improvement bonds in the aggregate principal sum of not to exceed $20 million or such lesser amount as shall be determined by the city manager or revenue services director at the time of sale of the bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of fire station renovations and paying cost incidental to the issuance, sale, and delivery of the bonds.
Move for approval for Resolution 198.
Support?
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 198. Are there any comments by the commission? Well, I will make a comment thanking everyone who participated in drawing, designing, or putting our best foot forward in order to make this historic investment in our fire stations. I commend everyone. I commend the number of people that worked very hard, even our former city manager who led the program. So it's an historic time for our community to invest in their fire stations, and I applaud everyone. So are we prepared to vote? Would you please vote on Resolution 198? Resolution 198 has been approved. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 199.
This resolution, if approved, accepts the lowest responsible bid for fire station new construction and renovations from Schweitzer Incorporated in a not-to-exceed amount of $19,884,836 with an additional allowance for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, FFE, approved in a not-to-exceed amount of $1.5 million to be purchased off the State of Michigan Extended Purchasing Program.
Move for the approval of Resolution 199.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 199. Are there any comments by the commission? Commissioner Simmons?
So after our previous meeting a few weeks back, we had the presentation, I appreciate that, about the cost and how we weren't able to do fire station number 5. And so I'm hoping staff and or the city employees that have been delegated this can address some of the issues that we talked about potential value engineering to save some money in some areas so we can do some other things in other areas. Still kind of disappointed we can't do, somebody mentioned the fire station number 5, and so where we stand with what came out of that meeting, because some of the direction from some of the commissioners were like, hey, maybe we, don't do stone pillars, and, I understand we're trying to build this for 50 or 100 years or out in the future, but maybe we can still make it last and do something not quite so high-end, and then do some value engineering, and then maybe do more as far as like Fire Station 5. So if someone could address that, please.
Yeah, certainly. And I'll give a couple comments, and then I'll invite Katie Norton to come up and maybe add a little bit more depth to what I'm saying. But the value engineering process is ongoing. Okay. Obviously, the not-to-exceed amounts that you see in front of you this evening are tied to our budget. Right. And so they assume that we've completed value engineering and we've aligned ourselves with those not-to-exceed amounts. There's quite a bit going on there, Commissioner. There's both interior aesthetic changes, exterior aesthetic changes, material changes, a variety of things going on. Katie's here, and she can talk a little bit more about what we're doing, but we're working very closely with Schweitzer, who I notice is represented here this evening too, because I think this is going to be an ongoing process throughout the project as they work with their subcontractors who are going to have ideas about things that we could do to save costs, and as we sort through finishes and a variety of other things where there are potential for additional savings.
Yeah, I repeat that sentiment from Ted that, it'll be kind of a fluid process as we move forward. We had to set this not to exceed dollar amount to meet that total of $28 million budget. So with that said, once we award this contract to Schweitzer, we'll really dive deep into the value engineering. We wrote the resolution in a way that gives us a little bit more flexibility, because once we start working on that value engineering, they have subcontractors that they still want to work with to see if they have some ideas on their end on how we can reduce cost overall. And like you see in the resolution, we set that $1.5 million contingency fund there for a reason. You know, we'll know very quickly whether or not we'll need to use that funds. Those funds are set aside for any unanticipated things that maybe we find in the ground when we start doing excavating at 2 and 3. Really quickly we'll know whether or not we have that funds to use moving forward. So potentially a couple years down the road, we might, after we start doing these projects, we might be able to do some more as far as different ideas to come up with a way to actually put more money into 5 down the road. But right off the bat, you know, we have to kind of stay at that $19 million price point to stay under with all the fees and et cetera. So, like I said, it'll be a kind of a fluid process. I imagine keeping you up to date and everything that we come up with so far right off the bat. But like I said, Schweitzer's going to work very closely with their subcontractors to see how we can dial that back. Like I had ideas on here about removing the overhangs from 2 and 3 on the outdoor seating areas, or removing different, like Ted said, interior or exterior, you know, niceties that you saw in some of the designs. Okay?
Thank you. And
Yep.
just, I guess, a comment, and it sounds like staff is looking at ways to save money through value engineering on this, and if we can ultimately do Station 5 within this budget that we have allocated, that would be the ideal goal, so.
Right.
And I know staff agrees.
I mean,
so, yeah.
that was the easiest price point to go, okay,
Yeah.
we'd rather put as much money as we can into making a station perfect, you know, as a whole, like brand new stations that are going to last 50 years, and then coming back and looking at what we have as far as funds from there. Because if you half do a station, it's not going to last like you want it to. You know what I mean? So you don't want to trim back on the major components of this station.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Yeah, I have a question. One of the main points of, I really like the idea of renovating our fire stations is for the safety and the protection of all of our firefighters out there. Throughout the years, we figured out things like PFAS and other chemicals. Are all of them going to be up to safety standards? Because on here it says 5's not being done nothing to. Are we going to have the zero pressure rooms, the safety that's going to take care of it?
Not at this time.
That really frustrates me. I'm being honest.
Have you been out to 5 before?
No, but I'm looking at this as we're investing into the people that we're
Yes.
here for, and if we can find a way to value engineer to get that down,
Yeah.
to get the safety part down, that's
Right.
what I'm looking forward to,
Yeah.
is the future of our firefighters and our people that are out there doing this hard work. I mean, all the years of these chemicals that they come up with, and then we're going to ask them to come back
I
and go
understand.
sleep in bed with this. So we're really not looking at all in that, but the other stations will be getting the total upgrades that they need for safety and
Yes,
standard.
Commissioner O'Donnell, maybe I could interject there too, because we certainly appreciate what you're saying, right? One of the givens of the project was to touch every station. I mean, that was one of the initial givens, you know, underneath this notion that we had a budget that we needed to work with. And there were various components, right, that made up, you know, any of the renovations at any one of the given stations. I think, you know, top priority for us would be, and Katie mentioned it, we have a $2.5 million contingency on this project. And once we get out of the ground, as they say, on Station 2 and 3, where the unknowns that we can't, you know, anticipate at this point have essentially been resolved, we'll have a much better feel for where we stand with our contingency, and I think that will give us an opportunity then to turn our attention back to Station 5 and say, okay, you know, starting from the health and safety perspective, you know, what minor changes could we make here, and then build towards the project as a whole.
I mean, it's just, to me, when it says no, it was the way I'm reading this is like, yeah, we'll come back to it. It's an afterthought. I don't want it to be an afterthought. I want it to be in the forefront of our firefighters,
Yeah.
that we can take care of them. And
Let me touch back on the original plan. We were going to close Station 3, and we were going to combine Station 1 and 3 back when we originally had this plan, and we had a dollar amount to do so. We took into account the citizens' comments, the commission's comments on the idea of closing Station 3 was a negative for us as a city. So then we had to look into building a new Station 3 to accommodate that post-addition area. And so building a whole new building and not combining the two added to that cost of the overall project. We also discovered while investigating Station 1 that the geotechnical report came back saying that we couldn't add any more weight to that station. It is actually built on wooden piers right now because the ground soil is so terrible in that area. So that was another contributing factor to the fact that we had to now build another brand-new station for the post-addition area. And so, unfortunately, when we originally presented that first budget to you, that didn't then take into account building a Station 3.
Perhaps what we could do, Commissioner, too, is we could report back to the commission as we progress through this. I mean, obviously, if the commission passes the resolutions this evening, we've got the funding that we need to go ahead with these projects, and we can award the contract. What we can come back and do with the commission is report to you as this project progresses about how we might be able to address those issues at Station 5.
Definitely, I would love to see more reporting on that. 'Cause
I mean,
that
it's
was
on our
really
mind. It's on our mind as well.
Yeah,
You know,
it's-
we want to
well-
make sure that our firefighters are safe.
It's just, when I read what's here, it just says there'll be none other, and then you're saying, well, contingency if we come across a few extra dollars. If we do so, I want it forwarded right to Station 5, whatever
Yeah.
we can find.
Yeah.
They don't, you know, and I understand the water table and all that stuff about the sinking ground, and we find things as we move on, but just when I see it's just on here, nothing's going to be done, and this is what we're voting on is you know,
Right.
this plan. I just want to see us to do better for that Station 5. And
Well-
other stations have this zero pressure. It's just
Yeah.
over the years, over the last 100 years, and it's not anyone's fault. We're finding out more about environmental things that as we move on in time that we shouldn't have done that. I mean, asbestos was the greatest thing till we found out what was going on with it. Now we got forever PFAS is next, and that's what we used to put out fires with. And it's the care of the individual and the families that have these, they come home to. I want them to come home to have health and safety life. That's really the number one priority of this project and myself was to get this done. And
Right.
it just,
Right.
it was
Okay.
a little dishearteningly. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, but thank you for your time.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Morris?
Thank you. So if we do go through the process of trying to figure out best value cost and we're in the ground in stations 2 and 3 and it just takes way more than we anticipated and we don't have anything left over for Station 5, do we have a plan to address those safety concerns if there is no money left over? Because we're hoping that money's going to be left over for Station 5, correct?
Well, Commissioner, I mean, obviously, we have fund balance, and we have dollars in our 401 fund. I think that was a topic of conversation with my weekly report to the commission a couple of weeks ago about, you know, our desire to issue this full debt rather than put fund balance against it because we have other capital needs that we need to address. One of them is actually on the resolution this evening, too. So, you know, we don't have a specific plan or have identified specific dollars to address the health and safety issues at Station 5 as we sit here right now, but that is certainly something we could look at. And again, these aren't the only source of funds that we have to work with.
Thank you. I just would like us to definitely consider looking at a backup plan for if we don't have these dollars to fall back on, so that we're not in a situation where we don't have any funds or we're having to pull from somewhere else and damaging something else. So I just would like us to plan for that preemptively.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 199? Resolution 199 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 200, Madam Clerk.
This resolution, if approved, accepts the lowest responsible bid for the Kellogg Arena HVAC improvements project from W. Soul and Company in a not-to-exceed amount of $2,309,680.
Move for the approval of Resolution 200.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 200. Are there any comments by the commission?
I have one.
Commissioner Lance, and then Vice Mayor. No Vice Mayor.
No, Vice Mayor, that's all right. So it's good that we're investing into this asset, but, you know, the amount is pretty steep. I just would like to know, you know, how much money are we earning from this asset that we use? Is it underutilized? I quite frankly, I see the construction costs, but I've never really seen the budget for this thing. And kind of to go to Commissioner Morris's comments and Patrick's comments on the fire station, it'd be wonderful if we had assets that actually made us money. For instance, the golf course we just paid off a bond there. We can finally start making some money. This thing, this arena, I have no idea how much money we make it from per year, but it seems to me that we should be trying to make some serious coin with it, or we should get rid of it. But I think this is a way to maybe take some of the burden off the taxpayers' backs for these massive bonds that we're committing ourselves to. So I'm going to vote yes on this, but I do think we need to look at our assets and who's running them and who's managing them and figuring out a way to think like in private business and make profit off them.
Vice Mayor, you're ready to say something?
Commissioner Lance actually got me kind of thinking, and I know, Ted, I believe we've had these conversations before, that the Kellogg Arena is actually used extensively by trade groups. So they're not necessarily events that are open to the public, but there are, you know, trade associations that are coming in, and their members are coming in and going to conventions and events that are being held within that facility. I think what would be helpful to the commission is a report back as to how many days a year the arena is in use.
Certainly.
In general.
Sure.
If you can provide something like that, and not tonight, but
And we certainly can. I mean, we've got a schedule of events. The arena has a schedule of events for the next fiscal year, right? And they've got projections on attendance and that kind of thing. We can certainly share that information. You know, obviously, for the arena, the last few years have been difficult because the hotel has not been open. But the arena really is the convention facility for the hotel. It's where floor shows and that kind of thing happen. So, you know, based on the investment, part of the thinking here is the investment in the hotel was significant in this community. And the arena kind of needs to carry its weight there as an asset as part of that complex.
So are they working directly with the hotel then? Are they working directly with the hotel then?
Oh, yeah, they work very closely with the hotel.
And the hotel people would say the same thing?
I absolutely believe they would see the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a close working relationship there.
Commissioner Simmons?
So, back when we first built the arena, it was 1980s, mid-80s.
81.
You were on the commission then, Mayor? I remember going to concerts there, and like big name concerts. I saw Def Leppard and Metallica, and it's an antiquated facility for that kind of thing anymore. All these concerts are going, you don't even see them at Wing Stadium anymore. You see them going to Grand Rapids, Van Andel Arena, and it's a completely different market. And so we're doing like trade shows and on occasional
amateur
bull riding, but it's not like it used to be. And I'm just wondering if we're dumping money into a facility that's really kind of antiquated and it's just a money pit. It's always been, and I'm right there with Commissioner Lance, it's always been my concern, at least especially in the last decade for this.
Well, I mean, again, it does get a variety of uses. For example, last weekend, 3,500 Jehovah's Witnesses were here. A similar size group is here again this weekend, along with a variety of other activities going on. So, I mean, your point is a good one. The economics of the larger concerts don't really work at Kellogg Arena, and so they tend to act as more of an amateur sports, multi-day convention/arena type arrangement, where you say, while a concert economically is very good for the arena itself, doesn't have the same impact in the downtown, for example, as opposed to a 4-day gymnastics event, for example. And so the arena is always trying to balance those those competing dynamics. And they, yep, they have some up and down years. I think things are going to be considerably better now that the hotel is open.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 200? Resolution 200 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 201.
This resolution, if approved, accepts the lowest responsible bid for the City Hall boiler and chiller replacement project from Shouldice Industrial Manufacturers and Contractors Incorporated in a not-to-exceed amount of $1,058,710.
Move for the approval of Resolution 201.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 201. Are there any comments by the Commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 201? Resolution 201 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 202. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
A resolution approving a proposed planned unit residential development located on part of the property located at 14188 Helmer Road and the abutting vacant property to include 14 two-unit buildings, 28 total units, that received preliminary approval via Resolution 359 on February 6, 2024.
Move for the approval of Resolution 202.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 202. Are there any comments by the Commission? Seeing none, would you please?
I just want to thank Scott Gatton for the development. Scott, do you have anything you want to say? Thank you. Appreciate your business in the city.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are we ready to vote? Please vote on Resolution 202. Scott and family, thank you very much. We appreciate your investment in Battle Creek. Resolution 202 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 203.
This resolution, if approved, authorizes the interim city manager to enter into a purchase agreement and all other documents necessary to purchase parcel number 52-5660-00-061-0, vacant land commonly known as 94 Warren Street, from the Calhoun County Land Bank Authority for $800.
Move for the approval of Resolution 203.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 203. Are there any comments by the Commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 203? Resolution 203 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 204.
This resolution, if approved, provides authorization for firefighter Josh Hagan to purchase 12 months of military time for the purpose of increasing his service credit toward retirement.
Move for the approval for Resolution 204.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 204. Are there any comments by the Commission? Please vote on Resolution 204. Resolution 204 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 205. Madam Clerk.
This resolution, if approved, authorizes a police officer liaison agreement for the 2025-2026 school year with Battle Creek Public Schools.
I move for the approval of Resolution 205.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve Resolution 205. Are there any comments by the Commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 205? Resolution 205 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. Do we have any public comments? Yes, ma'am. Mary? Yes.
I'd like to invite all of you guys to our neighborhood housing meeting. It is next Tuesday at St. Mark's CME Church at 95 Illinois Street here in Battle Creek from 6 to 7. And we'd be really happy to have you guys attend. And I put it there because I didn't know how else to give it to you. So I'm hoping to see you guys all there, and talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you, Mary. David?
I'm going to say something I had said probably a number of times before. Well, I do appreciate these programs, and these guys got good plans in what they do, but that's good for people who's got the money. These concerts and things like that, they were great. I went to a lot of concerts. I went to a lot of country and westerns and shows down there when I was younger. I enjoyed them. But it's just gotten so high, because things are getting so high, you gotta go have a dinner and go to a concert afterwards or stuff like that. But poor people cannot afford this. These are good programs to have, but they're getting so costly. The middle class on down just can't afford it. We need to be more concerned, a fair shake for everybody. And we got housing and things that this needs that people really have to have. I have to admit they're more important. I do like to go to these concerts, and well, I don't have the money nowadays like we did back then. But just a lot of things that everybody's going to have to consider. It's a fair shake for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Mike?
I'm Michael Delaware. I live at 33 North Broad Street. I gave you a couple of photographs of the driveway approach at my property, 286 Eldred Street. I've been speaking with Mayor Benke this week and also corresponding with the interim city commissioner, Mr. Deering. And Mr. Deering responded in a recent email yesterday that responding to the mayor's request to get data, that the city attorney has shared that it's likely the city is actually not allowed to expend money on this type of repair, as it would generally be considered extending public money for a private benefit to the property owner. And I just wanted to speak on that today because this is a driveway approach. It sits between a public sidewalk, which the city will freely repair if there's a hazard on the sidewalk. It sits between the roadway. But because a driveway approach is perceived as the only benefit to the property owner, the attorney takes the position that that's what it would be. But I disagree. I would argue that the viewpoint of a driveway approach is used by the community. If you've ever been driving around the community and looking for a house and you passed it, you're going to turn into a neighbor's driveway, turn around safely and drive back and park where you're going. If there's a party at somebody's house down the street and everybody's parked, you're going to park, and maybe you're going to walk up somebody's driveway approach and access the sidewalk rather than go all the way down to the block to use the city access point. So driveway approaches are used daily by the community. We just don't recognize it. We don't realize it because we're so common use. But if homeowners took that away from the community, let's say somebody decided to put up a gate or a spike strip or something negative like that that would prevent people from pulling in the driveway, you would hear your phones ringing from all the damaged cars. You know, if the entire community, the entire city of Battle Creek did that and took that action, just as a hypothesis of a crazy idea, you would realize the importance of driveway access points to the community. And they're used by everybody. Kids crossing the street, go down a driveway point. So yes, it does benefit the property owner, but I would say 30% of the year it's used by the community, maybe even more. I live across from a city park. I can guarantee you, In the 24 years I've been there, I have seen everything from police officers pulling my driveway to turn around, to ice cream trucks, to city people using the park, city employees, Semco energy trucks, consumers energy trucks. I know because my dogs tell me so, and I look out the window every time. So it's not something that is not used by strictly the property owner. And it is on the city easement, it's on their property. To insist that a property owner has to bear the expense of repair, it just doesn't seem reasonable to me. I'm not asking you to build the Golden Gate Bridge on my property. I'm asking you to grind it down so that my tenant can get into her driveway, because currently her vehicle, as you can see in the photos, is getting scraped and torn up, and she's afraid she's going to lose her muffler just going into the driveway. So she doesn't use the driveway anymore. You know, and she's also afraid to park in the street in front of the house because in recent storms, branches have fallen down. Also a tree that's sitting on the city easement. So I'd like her to be able to use the driveway again. I can't afford to rip it all out and put concrete in. I just paid my property taxes for the year on 5 properties. You know, and I'll say I've been here 24 years as a citizen of Battle Creek. I've owned a lot of property, I've sold it. In the years I've been here, I've probably paid $100,000 in property taxes. And not once have I ever asked the city to make an improvement on a city easement before. And I'm just kind of appalled that I can't get any cooperation on this. And I understand Ted Deering's position, he's got to listen to the attorney, but I think the attorney's wrong. And that's my position on it, Mark, and
Thank you very much.
thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Any other public comment at this time? Reese?
Reese Atkins, 84 South 23rd Street, and just real quick on the Calagorina. I remember in class of 96 graduating in Calagorina from Battle Creek Central. We used it and had a wonderful time. But the main reason I'm coming up here is 2 reasons. One, as I'm driving around my neighborhood and several other neighborhoods, I am noticing that fire hydrants are white. I look at that, and I had a talk with my wife tonight coming down here. You know, come wintertime, if those are still white, that's going to be a real problem for 6 feet of snow covering up a white fire hydrant and a fire department trying to get to that fire hydrant and find that fire hydrant, which you can't do because it's both of them are white, to put out a house fire. So that doesn't look too good in the neighborhoods when you're getting ready to talk snow. The other thing that I have tonight is the property that used to be the old Kmart. Supposedly it was sold. You guys have extended a tax exemption for this property and keep claiming that things are going to be built on this property, but all I see is people walking through it from the Share Center. No action has been taken, and this is now going on the 3rd year since that property has supposedly been sold and a contractor being put in it. You know, are we going to see something there, or are we just being bullied over and just being bullied and giving tax exempts and extending them for this property, because it doesn't look like they're wanting to build anything on that property. Thank you.
Let me take the easy one first. They're priming the fire hydrant, and then the yellow will be shortly appearing, all right? And secondly, yes, they are making some progress on the Kellogg, or on the Kmart site. Back corner, Steve Frisbee, our state representative.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City staff. Steve Frisbee, State Representative here in the 44th District, dropping by as I do occasionally to say hi. It's not my first time here, obviously, and it's not my first interaction with you. I've had conversations with many of you, and including Interim City Manager Deering and the Mayor, about how we can work together. Battle Creek Unlimited has been part of our process as well, and how we can implement the new radar system that would incorporate drone traffic with military and civilian air. And we want to get that done, and I'm working with them to identify ways to get that done in Lansing. So with the resource we have sitting at the end of the table in the vice mayor and myself, I think we can tag together pretty well in Lansing to get some stuff done. And if you ever have a need, don't be afraid to reach out. One of the things that I do want to highlight is the roads plan that we passed back in February, March, and what that would mean for the city of Battle Creek and Calhoun County. Calhoun County would double their road funding dollars from about 16 to 32 million, and Battle Creek would go just over $24 million a year, all without raising your taxes. We would remove, my bill removed the sales tax, which charged you tax on two taxes, right? Charged you tax on the state fuel tax and the federal fuel tax, and replaced it with a revenue neutral fuel tax. That is always steady. So if you look at the or the sales tax, it's always 6% of the sales. So it goes up and down a lot with the price of fuel that we've seen in the last several years. But that would bring $3.1 million of that bill that I helped pass or sponsored, would bring almost $1 billion of that 3.1 to the road system. So our goal is to take all of the money at the pump and put it into roads, bridges, and other things that are funded by Act 51, rail, airport, non-motorized trails, and a few mass transit, and a few other things. So we'll continue to work that. There has been no progress with that at the Senate. The good news is the governor seems to be migrating towards our plan of let's get something done. So I'm sure she would like to fix the roads. We've accomplished about 10% with all the bonding that we did in the last several years, which is nice, but it's all highway. And our plan focuses on from the driveway to the highway. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate, reach out. I know the mayor and I have had a couple conversations of concerns that may be going on, and he's been a wealth of information, and I hope I have been for him as well. So thank you.
Thank you, State Representative Steve Frisbee. Joe?
Joe Harris, Battle Creek. In regard to the city manager candidates, you guys have quite a bit of work ahead of you. I just want to thank you for still holding the meet and greet candidates, even though we had the candidate drop out. And I kind of wish you would have done that the last time, but I guess lesson learned. So we'll go on from there. I ask each of you to please do your research on the candidates. Google is a good thing. It doesn't take that long to do. Every one of the candidates has something that should be questioned, because I've done the research. Now, I'm not going to go and name the candidates. I'm just going to go through just a few things. One of them has allegation into disregarding government authority. Another one opposed a bill that would have supported property rights. Another one talked down to citizens, allegedly. Another one was accused of signing agreements without board approval. These are just a few things that I have found. I found a lot more. I'm not going to go through the whole list. The reason why I'm bringing it up is the information's out there, and I'm encouraging you guys to do your research on that. Don't just, come to the interview and take their word for it. Do the Google searches. It doesn't take a lot to do. I'm just going to ask again, like I said, do your research. We need someone with not only experience, but someone with integrity, the willingness to make hard decisions. We also don't need someone that's going to be a rubber stamp. In other words, we don't want just a yes person. We don't want the status quo, because it's kind of the status quo that will keep Battle Creek from moving forward. That's really all I had to say on that, but I want to mention something on the fire stations really quick. That is a huge bond, and I've said this time again, and I'm consistent with what I say. I would hope that there is a plan in place so that in the future, when repairs come up again, when improvements need to come up again, that the money is going to be there. $28 million is a lot of money to put on the taxpayer. there's a lot of people in this city that are struggling. They struggle to pay bills. They struggle to pay, for their food and stuff. And additional taxes is not a good thing. So I would just encourage you that please have a plan in place. And I want to thank you guys for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Lindsay Wheeler.
Good evening, Lindsay Wheeler, 218 Leland Drive South. My talk tonight is where are the bees? And I'm a farm laborer. I also live 2 blocks off of Gowack Lake, and I work on a farm that backs up to the Odd Preserve. And you know what I'm missing? Mosquitoes. There are no mosquitoes. That's strange. I get attacked by mosquitoes every year. I lived near Gowack for 10 years now. And this is the first year there's no mosquitoes. And what I come to figure out is that somebody sprayed the whole county, I think, to wipe them out. I think there was a program, a government program. Well, you know what else they did? They killed every other insect. They killed the butterflies, they killed the fireflies, they killed bees. Now, on my weed grass, weed flowers in the lawn, little yellow ones, I'd always have miniature solitary bees there and on the farm. And if you look at your clover, there's nothing on the clover. Now, I've never seen that in years. What the hell's going on? And well, last year, there was a company coming through saying, we're going to spray for mosquitoes. Well, if they spray a house 2 blocks over or down the street somewhere, the the butterflies and the bees have to cross over that property, and when they do, they get killed. There's no such thing as an insecticide that is mosquito dedicated. If you spray mosquito control, you kill everything. So I would look forward to a law outlawing these mosquito companies to preserve our environment and our wildlife diversity. And there is a specific trap for mosquitoes called carbon dioxide traps. Those can be placed all over the place, and they don't harm nothing but the mosquitoes. So I really suggest that if the county or the state come to you and say, we need to spray the whole county, even a deer hunter came up to me and says, yeah, the deer's been affected by the spray. They've been affected, so I want my bees back, I want my butterflies back, I want to hear crickets again. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lindsay. Any other public comments at this time? Chuck Asher.
Chuck Asher again, 961 Glencroft Lane. I just want to thank the commission and staff for the work they've done on the fire stations. If you think about it, you're the first group of people that's moved the needle since we built number 1 in I wasn't around, maybe 72. You were. 72. So this is a great improvement, but the work's not done. So I've heard a lot of good dialogue tonight. I'm confident that staff is going to try to fit those health and safety measures in number 5. If not, I'm confident that you'll figure out a way to do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay, John Kenefick. Are you guys going to be tag teaming? Yes. All right.
I would like to set up my visual aid right here at the podium.
Well, let's start the clock then.
No.
But don't cross the barrier there.
I'm trying. I feel like I got handcuffs. This is my designated pointer, by the way. Come on this side, please. There we go. John Kenefick, 234 South Avenue. Please point out the yellow area, the green area. That area is called the Post Addition. That area has more than 800 houses in a high-packed, high-concentrated housing area. If you look at the purple point in the green area, you'll find that's the location of Fire Station number 3. Over 20 years ago, look at number yellow, please, the area yellow. That's the Franklin area. There's no more than 140 houses in that area. More than 20 years ago, the intelligence level of the fire department and the city commission wanted to put a fire station at the blue point of Main Street, Warren Street, and Dickman Road. You didn't do that. Finally, right there, you'll find pointer number orange point, which is due left of the other one in the blue point. The orange point is due left of that. It's approximately 200 yards further into the Franklin area, a decimated area that has very few houses. And it's the new fire station location that's under proposal to shut down 3 and put that one even further away from a high concentrated area. A commissioner, and I'm not mentioning O'Donnell's name, he's very concerned about safety. I appreciate that, except that it has no meaning to me, because most of the things that could have been done a long time ago could have been done quite easily, quite economically feasible, if you'd only had a little forethought. You are putting an area, another fire station, further away from a high burn area. They didn't learn that in Los Angeles. Perhaps you haven't learned it here. That's the sad part of the whole thing. A lot of these things wouldn't have to be cost. You wouldn't be spending $425,000 for brand new golf carts. You wouldn't have to do all kinds of other things that you spent money that has no priority and not the purpose of the government of Battle Creek. But yet you spent it anyway, purposely, intentionally ran everything into the ground and said, oh my God, we have a fire station problem. We didn't know. One final statement from Rebecca Fleury. She said she was not aware that the damage was happening at fire station number 4. Most of the firemen that I spoke with recently said, we did our things, we knew about it. Whether it reached her level, they don't know. That's not part of the thing.
Thank you for your comments, John.
Thank you.
You're done. Thank you. Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Seeing none, any commission comments? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Just like to thank everyone come out here, giving your opinions to us, trying to do our best here to make our city a wonderful place. And I hope that everyone can come down this weekend and enjoy the downtown festivities that are happening. Every year we get those nice, wonderful cars to come visit and visit our local shops and retail things. So thank you.
Any other commission comments? I do have something here. I'm going to read it real quick. I'd like to take a moment to share a quick update about the 2025 National Community Survey that's currently underway. We're extending the deadline for neighbors to submit their feedback from the original date of August 11th to August 18th. We're doing this to give more neighbors the opportunity to participate and help us collect as much feedback as possible. If you've received your survey in the mail, please be sure to return it before the 18th of August. If not, one of the 3,000 households to receive the mailed survey invitation, you can still take the open survey online through August 18th. More information is available on the city's website, battlecreekmi.gov. Scroll down to the news and announcement section to find the community-wide survey announcement. Thank you. Thank you for attending our meeting. It was a great turnout, and please have a nice night. This meeting is adjourned.